They say some neighborhoods keep the world's ugliness outside their gates. Silver Bluff wasn't one of those places. It just learned to dress the ugliness in lawn care and smiles. The day I moved in, my 10-year-old son, Malik, and our dog, Ranger Curtains, twitched like nervous hands. A woman across the street, Pearls at noon, lifted her phone without even pretending to wave. I'd seen that look at checkpoints, overseas politeness wrapped around suspicion. I told Malik, "Head up, baby. We live here now." He nodded, clutching Ranger's collar like it was a promise. By sunset, the humidity felt like a judgment. Boxes half-open pizza cold on the counter. Ranger pacing the window with that low, steady growl that means something's off. And then I saw it, blue and red, skipping across the blinds like a bad omen. Two deputies rolled up like they owned the cul-de-sac. The one in front, thick neck, slow swagger, the kind of man who chews on power like it's gum, stepped onto my porch and pounded the door with his fist. "Evening," he said, like the word could bruise. "I'm Deputy Rick Daly. Got a call about a disturbance. Looks like we had ourselves a break-in." "No break-in," I answered through the chain, keeping my voice even. "My name is Naomi Brooks. This is my home." He smiled without warmth. "People don't just buy in Silver Bluff, ma'am. You got proof, deed HOA blessing." He said it the way some folks say prayer, except his God wasn't mercy, just control. Ranger barked once. Malik flinched. The younger deputy, Tyler Mays, nervous fingers, baby face, not used to this kind of night, hovered behind Daly, trying to look taller in a uniform that fit like a dare. That animal-aggressive Daly asked, already reaching for his holster. "He's protective," I said, "and on my property." Daly's flashlight slid across my face and into the living room like a searchlight, like I had smuggled danger in with my coffee maker. "Step aside," he said. "We'll make sure everything's safe, not without a warrant." The porch went quiet, the kind of quiet that always ends with somebody bleeding. Daly leaned in close enough that I caught old coffee on his breath. "I don't need paper to see what doesn't fit," he murmured, eyes flicking over Malik. "Kid looks scared. You sure he belongs to you?" Malik pressed into my side. "I'm her son," he whispered. That should have been enough, those 3 words, but some men only hear what confirms their story. Daly peeled my door wider with the heel of his hand. Tyler checked the back, he ordered, and when I blocked the frame with my shoulder, he fired a shot straight up into the ceiling plaster, raining down like powdered chalk. Malik screamed. Ranger lunged with a bark that rattled the windows. Daly didn't flinch. He raised his weapon, leveled it at a living, breathing piece of our family, and pulled the trigger like it was nothing. Ranger dropped mid-stride, one sound, then no sound at all. I have been calm through mortar fire. I have counted heartbeats in safe houses while men with dirty intentions walk past my door. I have done quiet work for a task force that doesn't have a public name. But the sight of my son dropping to his knees, hands shaking on Ranger's fur, broke something ancient inside me. "Please," Malik was sobbing. "Please get up." Daly turned that ugly smile on my boy, and with the barrel still warm, pointed at Malik's chest. "Shut him up before I do." My voice wasn't loud. Steel never is. "Point that gun at my child again, and you will regret it for the rest of your life." He dared me with his eyes. That's when muscle memory took over. I slid back to the kitchen, opened the drawer I had set the moment we moved in, and wrapped my hand around the Glock. I hoped I'd never need in my own house. "She's armed," Tyler shouted, panic crawling up his throat. Daly angled his pistol at Malik and grinned like he'd been waiting for this moment. One twitch, and the boy learns a lesson. Everything narrowed into a tunnel, Malik's wet face, the weight of the gun, Ranger's collar still warm under my foot, and the years of being told to be small, be grateful, be quiet. I didn't aim for theater. I aimed for bone. My shot snapped his pistol out of his hand, metal clattering across tile, his knuckles split and bleeding. He stumbled, cursed, reached for the stairs. I took his leg clean, dropped him on the landing like a sack of bad intentions. "Step away from my son," I said, and for once he listened. Outside, radios hatched like hornets. More cars, heavier engines, boots that mean business. Tyler sprinted out the side door, voice cracking into the radio. Officer down, armed, suspect, child present. The world tilted. I grabbed Malik, hustled him upstairs, locked us behind a reinforced bedroom door, and slid a steel bar I'd installed before the first box came inside. Open mouth, cover ears, I told him. If they flashbang, it helps with the pressure. He nodded the tiniest brave nod. I pulled a ballistic panel from under the bed and set it like a shield. Then I did the thing I swore I'd left behind. I tapped a code into a plain calculator app and sent a message only a handful of people would recognize: active asset at risk. Sheriff Colton Reeves arrived like a stage cue baritone on a bullhorn, that smooth politician rhythm, the kind that makes a lie sound like common sense. Naomi Brooks, you are surrounded. You will exit the room, hands visible, or we will breach. I took a breath, kissed Malik's forehead, and yelled through the door, let my son go. He's lost enough tonight. The only answer was the hydraulic ram. The door exploded, the world went white, and loud hands on my back and zip ties burning my skin, Malik screaming as two men dragged him out from under the bed. Stop fighting or we make it worse, a faceless voice hissed. I went still. Still isn't surrender. Sometimes it's strategy. They hauled us to the station cold on purpose. Sheriff Rios watched me through glass like I was an exhibit. Deputy Daly nursed his bandaged hand and smirked every time he remembered he could. Delete the cams, I heard Reeves say. Doorbells, body cams, dash, erase it all. This never happened. The town attorney came in with a stack of charges tall enough to blot out the sun assault on an officer endangering a minor terrorism enhancements given your training. He said it politely like a waiter listing desserts. Sign a statement, he sighed, and maybe you'll see daylight before you're 60. You broke into my home without a warrant, I told him. You killed a family dog and pointed a gun at a child. He pretended to be bored. Bullies always do when truth knocks on their teeth. I might have stayed in that chair all night if not for two things. First, Tyler Mays. He couldn't stop shaking. He kept looking at his shoes like they were going to give him absolution. Second, a kid with a press badge and more courage than sense hovering by the vending machines. His name was Evan Pike. When the hallway emptied, he slid a note under my door I saw. I have proof. Don't let them break you. 5 minutes later, black SUVs hummed to a stop outside like a verdict. When the door opened, the temperature in the building changed. A man in a navy suit walked in, tall, quietly furious, the kind of presence that steals oxygen from a room without raising a voice. Marcus Ellison, Department of Justice, he said to the front desk, and the receptionist forgot how to swallow. He took the conference room, took the narrative, took the sheriff's chair without asking. We know about the deletions, Ellison said, eyes the color of hard winter. We have restored fragments, neighbor footage, and witness testimony. Sheriff Reeves, Deputy Daly. Deputy Mays, you're relieved of duty, effective now. Daly leapt to his feet. You're going to believe her over your own. Ellison didn't blink. I'm not believing anyone. I'm following evidence. And you were sloppy. They uncuffed me and Malik ran into my arms so fast we both almost went down. I buried my face in his hair and finally let a breath hitch. Across the table, Tyler's mouth opened and the dam finally broke. We lied, he said, voice raw. We always lied for calls from Beverly Stroud. She's the HOA lady. Every time a black family moved in, she dialed 911 and we showed up hot. The sheriff told me to rewrite reports. I'm sorry. Sheriff Reeves tried to stare him back into silence, but the spell was gone. The next morning, Silver Bluff looked different because the truth was walking around on 2 feet and wearing microphones. The courthouse filled up like it was Sunday. The judge said words I didn't know I needed. The evidence will be public. They played the clip, Evans saved Daly raising his weapon, Ranger dropping Malik's cry scraping the walls. You could hear the air leave people's lungs. Some folks still fought the truth, they always will, but nobody could look away. I told what happened. not for vengeance, but for clarity. How it feels when the law treats your front door like a suggestion, when a neighbor's fear outranks your deed, when your child learns in one night that uniforms aren't always safety. Mr. Curtis, an elder who had outlived too many incidents, took the stand and said Reeves made him sign a false statement a decade ago after his nephew was shot. Beverly's 911 transcripts stacked up like a pattern you can see from space. Then the verdicts rolled in, Reeves convicted on conspiracy, civil rights violations, and obstruction. Daly on assault with a deadly weapon and evidence tampering. Mays as an accessory who cooperated, sentenced but not erased. The judge ordered a civilian review board and a fund for families who'd been told for years to swallow their grief quietly. After the cameras left for the night, we stood under the live oaks in front of the courthouse. Me, Malik, a few mothers who hadn't met my eyes 2 days earlier, and a granite slab with one word cut into it. Justice. Malik pressed Ranger's old collar to the stone and whispered, "Thank you, buddy." A kid with freckles tugged his sleeve and asked if someone like him could be a hero too. "Yeah," Malik said, voice steady now, "if you stand up for somebody." Silver Bluff didn't become heaven overnight. We still have people who fold their arms and say, "It wasn't that bad," who pretend the flashbangs were procedure, who talk about my shot like it was the beginning instead of the middle. And I get it, change makes folks nostalgic for the lie. But on Friday evenings now, there's a circle of lawn chairs in my front yard. We teach kids how to use their voices and their feet how to say no, like it's a complete sentence. We teach parents how to be witnesses instead of jurors. The new officers come by, sometimes stand at the edge, listen more than they talk. Ellison stops when he's in town. No speech, just a nod that says, "Keep going." Beverly. She keeps her phone on silent these days. Maybe that's a start. People ask if I regret pulling the trigger. I wish I'd never been asked to answer that question. I wish Ranger was still sleeping at the foot of Malik's bed. I wish the lesson hadn't cost us fur and innocence. But here's what I know: fear is loud and power likes it that way. The only thing that ever beat both is truth with a spine. So tell me, after everything you've heard, where do you draw the line between defense and defiance? Between order and control? Have you seen a neighborhood like mine, where the gates kept out the wrong things, where the rules were just polite words for bias? Drop your city in the comments. Tell me what justice looks like where you live, what you've witnessed, what you'd change. And if this story hit a nerve, don't just sit with it, like, share, subscribe, and add your voice below. That's how we keep daylight on the places that still prefer the dark.